I haven't been down to visit my girls in a few days. Looking great. Good little Cinnamon. She loves climbing. And her mom, Violet. And then Pepper. A little cutie. We'll give you some goat raising tips that I think every goat owner should know. Just some beginner friendly tips. First tip would be make sure you have good fencing for your goats. Improper fencing will cause your goats to either escape or they might end up destroying the fence that you did build. So make sure you have proper, adequate fencing that's good for goats. We have electric fencing and it works like a charm. Let's head up. My second tip is to not feed your goats too much goat feed. You want to make sure your goats are eating adequate amounts of hay or that they're grazing and they're not eating too much goat feed because their poop will get too soft if they're eating too much goat feed, and your goats need to have goat poop. That's how you know you have healthy goats. Most important tip is to do your research. Make sure you find out about common goat diseases and illnesses and how to treat them. So make sure you do your research before you go ahead and get your goats. So we're out here in the greenhouse and I just wanted to give you a quick little update of what's going on here this fall. I was actually coming out here to bring some of these summer crops inside, but you know, they're still doing okay. Like the pineapple's still all right. The one down there is still okay. Peppers for some reason are still putting out flowers, and for some reason the lemon decided it's time to flower. It's literally middle of October. We already had our first frost. The peppers are still putting out pepper for me, so that's pretty good. The eggplant did wilt a little bit in the cold, but it's still trying to grow. It's trying to put out an eggplant here. Who cut down the corn? Okay, what happened there? I have some broccoli growing here, and something's been eating it. I've been trying to come out and take off all the caterpillars. I don't see any, but for some reason they're still being eaten. I've sprayed a bunch of stuff on them, but they're still getting eaten, so yeah. I have a watermelon here that's been growing in this container for quite some time, and it's still growing and it's still trying to put out little watermelon. You can see one right there, and there's probably more because it's vining all the way over here. So things are still growing in here. Everything's looking all right, and considering it's pretty cold out, I was expecting everything to be a lot more wilted and not really growing, but they're still growing. I still have a tomato even here that I can pick. And more here ready, almost ready. Just need to water everything, but it's not bad actually. I was expecting it to look a lot worse in here. So in here, I actually took out some green onions that I had growing last year in another container by the front yard, and I transplanted them here, and one of them sprouted and put out a bunch more little onions. So this green onion, and the funny thing is the green onion doesn't fully die throughout the winter, even during the hard frosts and cold. It'll stop growing, but they come back. It came back last year, and I'm expecting it to come back again this year or next year, I guess. And then here is the container full of herbs. I have parsley, and I also have oregano. This is some wild oregano that I picked out of my front yard that was growing wild, and I planted it in this container, and I've harvested tons of oregano off this. It's just at the end of the season now, and you can see there's the parsley back there still growing. Parsley will grow in the cold until even through the frost. The parsley will still be alive, and then it'll come back next year as well. And over here I planted my Taro root, and you can see the Taro roots come back every year. It's It's an annual now, so it comes back every year. And you can actually eat these leaves while they're nice and young. You cook them up like you would spinach, and then the root underneath, you dig it up and then you can eat the roots underneath. It's like a great potato substitute. It goes wonderful. Eaten very plentifully in other parts of the world. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. Subscribe below.